Last time on Reforged.
Finally, someone on the opposing side who can actually fight.
This human with a greatsword, Hugs, runs over.
Hugs' knee comes up, and the guy's arm bends the other way.
He has a star floating around him, like the elk people.
Oh, shoot, that's the human?
The one who Hugs just broke the arm of.
Oh, it's one of my dudes. What's your name?
My name is Simon.
What are you doing with that dragonborn piece of garbage?
We're members of the Serpent clan.
All right, everyone, it looks like we're done here.
You would turn tail when there's still a fight to be had?
There's no honor in killing an opponent that can't defend themselves.
Aurelius! Aurelius! There is like a fleet of boats, but inside these nets, there is something being dragged through the water. Looks kind of like a bird. Talfar, it kind of reminds you of like a dove back in the Foxland that was mangled by a fox. Like its heart's been ripped out.
I shoot a glare at my elk friend.
You see a full-blooded elf. So Sunny is looking up at him and he's kind of looking down at her.
We're leaving. No need to sacrifice yourself.
Your ship blasts forward. Ivory turns towards it and just puts her hand right in the middle of it. And beyond, you hear the chirping of birds. The reason I've brought you down here is I want you to remember, no matter what kind of darkness you're going to be facing in the future, just remember what you fight for. Our goal here is to spread peace throughout the world and not violence. Oh, and by the way, all of you level up to level 4. Hey everyone, I'm Austin.
I'm Ian.
I'm Zoe.
And I'm Ty.
Thanks for tuning in to Reforged Podcast, Episode 6. All right, so here we go. We're here again. My name is Austin Rasmussen, the DM.
My name is Zoe Shane, and I am Pippi Farewell.
I'm Ty, and I played Talvar.
I'm Ian Early, and I play Hugs, the Goliath Barbarian.
Last we left off, you guys were deep within the Alabaster in the sanctuary to Luminary Lucis, kind of kneeling down and praying with Captain Ivory and Sunny. And you guys have been there for quite some time. Actually, it's been probably hours that you've been sitting down here kind of meditating. All of you, to some degree or another, have had a profound moment down here. Is there anything in like specific that your characters probably would have seen or thought about?
I think maybe the fact that you're now a cross-class character.
Not a thing.
I'm not sure if we've established that yet.
I mean, you don't need necessarily, it doesn't have to be such a big deal that you've cross-classed. You've just kind of realized your sneakiness.
Okay.
And it's kind of actualized.
She has a thirst for blood with a blade.
That's
yes. Right. And I realize that maybe being a bard isn't the fullness of my true calling, and maybe my sneakiness and my persuasiveness and all that can come in handy in a different class. So I'm going to double class as a rogue.
You know, it kind of works because everything I understand about bards is they fuck their way out of everything or into everything. and since you're 14, that would be the most awkward storyline, I guess.
Hey there, big boy.
I'm looking up too many of those bard memes.
Yeah, too many bard memes. That's exactly the problem. Like there's, I'm not going to go on random tangents.
Let's just say if I meet a voluptuous 14-year-old boy.
Or Captain Ivory.
Or Captain Ivory.
That's right.
I'm definitely, something's got to happen with Captain Ivory. She's beautiful.
Just wait till Pip turns 16.
All right. Let's take another take on this. You guys have been meditating, and so personally, just kind of in a role-playing aspect, is there anything that any of your characters would have profoundly seen? Because you guys are level 4 now. And I am attributing that to this moment, essentially. You've had time to reflect on the battle you just fought, maybe what that means, what that thing was that that dark mage Zaharan was dragging through the water, or remembering your past, or just why you're here at this point.
So something that Hugs would probably have had happen, becoming a level 4 barbarian means that he now is a totem path and his totem is the bear. So probably while everyone was meditating, he would have received like a small vision from like a bear spirit animal, not necessarily the bear god.
Like in Brother Bear.
Yeah, kind of like, like he just gets like a vision of a bear, but not in the way that I guess is typical where it's like, bear equals like ultimate ferocious beast of strength and stuff. The vision he receives is actually more of like a mother bear protecting her cubs.
Okay.
Aw.
And he takes a lot of like interest in it, and probably kind of, I guess, is trying to pull something away from this vision.
Oh yeah, it seems like in this previous battle, like there were a lot of moments that if it wasn't for you defending people, things could have gotten really bad.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely could, be a thing. How about Pippi?
What I saw was me going through every single land, every kind of different land on the island.
Oh, okay.
And trying to schmooze my way out of every situation, and maybe trying to pursue being a bard. But when I realized that something that I should have been looking for is how to maybe steal and persuade people and become more of a rogue type character. So I'm going to pursue that path now.
Okay.
So it's exciting.
So Pippi's vision was perhaps a little bit darker.
Yeah, no, I should
Yeah.
definitely be more devious. So
Maybe, like in this previous battle, there was a lot of close calls where you would have probably been seriously injured.
yeah,
But knowing that you could be sneakier, a little bit more nimble, this might be a vision telling you how you can be safer in the long run.
exactly. And
Okay.
the last battle was definitely a wake up call. I need to get more serious with my battling.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
And I mean, Talvar's had a lot of stuff that goes on too. What do you think he might have seen?
Just giant flaming bird.
Like a phoenix?
Yes.
Ooh.
Whoa.
What?
Oh, and does that kind of like link into your class a
Very
little bit?
much so.
Okay. Talvar saw a flaming bird for like 2 hours, or just a brief moment within
Well, it
that
was
period.
like a bird flying from over everything he's seen over the past like 6 years since he left his homeland. He was following the phoenix through the sky as it flew, like first around the deserts, showing him all the ruins and everything he'd visited while looking for clues as to the wolf attack and what had actually happened with it. And then it ventured out north towards the Elkland before it came back around to Polestar. And then that was pretty much his vision, was just watching the lands fly by.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool. That's sick.
Well, then after you guys finished your meditation, Ivory and Sunny kind of quietly just awoke you from your meditations and led you back out of this special chamber. And you guys go back up the stairs, and then finally Captain Ivory kind of lets down that sort of reverence, and her stance sort of slackens again, and she's back to being the captain.
The swag captain.
Yep.
Nice.
And
Beautiful woman.
she says, well, let's go check on Gallitrix and make sure he's doing all right. So you guys head up from the lowest quarters, and you're back in the dining hall, and people are just running about having a festive good time. The morale seems to be a little bit boosted. After 2 hours, people have eaten. They've kind of forgotten about the battle. There weren't any serious like casualties or anything. There was people wounded, and Sunny did her job to patch them up. You see Gallitrix over, and he's kind of looking around, and he spots you guys and heads straight over. Captain Ivory salutes, and he salutes back, and then she takes off because she's got some things important to do, and Sunny also leaves. So you're pretty much just left with Gallitrix right now.
I hand him the orb.
Oh, the Wavemaker orb.
Mhm.
Yeah. He takes that back, and he's like, "Oh, I almost had forgotten about this. Thank you."
That's code for Austin has almost forgotten about this.
Oh, the of course.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The whole way our ship moves.
Yeah. So,
That was a week ago that we talked about that.
That's
so.
true.
So did you guys enjoy your time below deck with Ivory and Sunny?
It was quite enlightening.
I learned a whole lot about myself, and that's all I'm willing to say at this point.
Well, I have heard it's quite the illuminating experience to be
No,
down
I mean,
there.
stuff's about to get a lot darker. But
Oh. And he looks a little uncomfortable at you. So everything's going pretty well up here, but I mean, can you hear that? Just listen for a second. And you guys focus. You hear the not so subtle sobs of Simon, or at least someone, but it's Simon. And Gallitrix says, I mean, he's, that serpent clan kid you saved, he's not doing so hot. And, he's kind of bumming everybody out. Would you go talk to him for a second?
Bumming everybody out?
Well, I mean, anyone who walks by him is pretty
We beat
concerned.
him senseless. Of course he's bumming everybody out. That poor soul. I'm going to go talk to him.
I would appreciate it. We've uncuffed him. He doesn't seem to be an issue anymore.
Oh.
So he's just he's up on the in the armory. So you can go find him up there. He's tucked behind a barrel or something like that.
Oh.
Like a rat crawling into a hole.
I hope he kept his blanket. And I just go up and follow him.
It's time for some acting, guys. Here we go.
Some acting.
I gotta be sad.
I light myself on fire.
Why?
Rah!
All right, this is getting cut.
I mean, my guy would be playing with fire a lot now, like twirling it between his fingers. But
Oh, so like subtly just
yeah,
you start incorporating fire into your... That's cool.
Oh, so you've had your vision and you can be like poof poof and like get little fire.
Kind of like he'll
oh.
just sit there with his hand by his side and like a fire will dance between each of his fingers. Like,
It's cool that you decided fire. I think that was a good pick between
Agreed.
that and ice.
it's just a show thing, what I'm doing right now. It
That's
has
cool.
no use whatsoever.
All right. So when you guys walk up to the armory, you can definitely hear Simon just kind of, and it's not like wild sobs. It's like sort of heartbroken, left behind sort of sobs.
Abandoned.
Yeah, abandoned. And it takes you a while to locate him. And like there's the wall that has a lot of like the plate mail and the armors. And there's some cannonballs down there, and he's kind of tucked behind a barrel up there. His arm has been healed to an extent. It's still kind of in a stint, but it's not completely broken in half. And yeah, he's pretty much just lost in tears. And there's a few patrons they come up all joyous and jolly from the mess hall, and they see him and they get bummed out and they just turn around and leave.
Simon Downer.
Jeez. What did you guys do to this poor soul?
I did break his arm.
Well, we healed that though, so he can't really be too upset. It was a battle, and we did spare his life.
Perhaps he just feels abandoned by his comrades.
That's probably exactly what it is. I want to go over to him and then just put my hand on his back, be like, "Hey, buddy, how's it going?"
Oh, okay. And when you put your hand on his back, he actually like jolts a little bit because he was so out of it that he wasn't even paying attention to you.
Oh.
And he just starts tearing up and he just says, this is so awful.
Well, it's not that bad. You get free food. I gave you a blanket.
Yeah.
May I roll for insight to see what's going on in this guy's head?
Sure.
12.
12, okay.
Mm-hmm.
You can, I don't know, maybe you'll just have to ask him. I mean, trying to find out why he's crying based on the frequency or something.
Yeah,
I guess
no,
isn't
maybe
working
not.
too well. Yeah.
I'm going to go look at what's happening above deck while she's talking to him.
Oh, okay.
So Talvar just leaves.
Why does Talvar peace out? Is he uncomfortable or?
No, he just wants to see what else is going on. It doesn't interest him at all.
This doesn't pertain me.
All right.
That's funny.
Before we get in this, how about Hugs? Why is Hugs? How is he reacting?
Probably standing a little bit in front of him with his arms crossed, looking stern, but in a way where he's like trying to be like, "It's okay?" question mark, like, because he does not really know how to deal with a crying warrior. Because this guy was holding a greatsword a moment ago.
Yeah.
And now he's just crying in a corner, so Hugs is not used to people crying.
Okay.
That's interesting. Yeah, that's true.
So if Hugs wants to jump in, he can, but I
Yeah.
guess this can be a dialogue sort of between Pippi and Simon, I guess, for the meantime.
Either way works for me. I just want to make sure this guy's okay because he's one of me.
Yeah.
Hugs feels somewhat guilty for breaking his arm, and he thinks that that's why he's crying.
Oh, okay. So, because I would like some more emotional role-playing moments in the podcast
Sure.
in certain situations. So this is, I'm going to try to do it.
This is a good one. This is a good starter.
Yeah.
Got this.
All right, so I put, I'm kind of rubbing his back a little bit, and I'm like, "Hey, buddy, I know that I was goofing around a little bit, and that, but honestly, you can tell me what's up, because we're both from the Elk clan, and we're all friends."
And he starts to burst into tears, and he's like, "That's exactly the problem."
Oh.
He starts to kind of narrate his story.
I get out my notebook. Just really subtly.
Just secretly sleight of hand check.
Yeah.
Are you writing this down?
I mean, you don't have to worry about that. Just tell me about you.
Okay. So he continues on, and he says, "You're from the elk tribe, the Snowdrift, right?"
Yes, absolutely.
And I mean, you know exactly how it is. Then the hunters stop finding meat, and the farmers. It's just getting so hard, and my girl Marianne and I, our sweet little daughter is born without a star, and I was just so desperate, and I joined this stupid serpent clan, and now look at me. And he looks at his hands, and he looks disgusted that, like, he's kind of got that gray sort of skin, and he's like touching his armor, and he's just continues on. He's just like, I've got nothing now. I can't go back to my family like this.
Oh, I just give him the biggest hug that I possibly can. I just so tight as a 14-year-old can hug some big dude around the neck, and I'm like, buddy, I was born without a star too.
That seems to snap him out of this weird trance, and he looks up at you, and he's like, really?
Yeah. Why do you think I'm out here? I'm looking for the stars, seeing what I can do about it.
Do you think there can actually be something done?
Well, I think so. Because just the other day I saw a whole dang room of them. Just a bunch of sprites floating around. It was beautiful. I couldn't touch them, but just seeing them gives me hope. And seeing yours gives me hope.
And he looks up at the wisp, and at first, like, some disgust crosses his face, but then kind of peace, and he says, "Why did you guys decide to save me?"
Well, you were unarmed. There's no sense in killing an unarmed man. Plus, it was more her idea. Okay, I'll step back now.
It wasn't exactly my fault that I was unarmed.
Yes, that's what happens in combat.
Push him away, my hand on his face. It's okay. Okay. Well, I can take a little bit of that credit because I am slightly biased towards my own kind, and I saw your little wisp, and I wanted to talk to you about it. It wasn't because you looked distraught, because you were pretty in the heat of battle and trying to kill me, but that's fine because we're the same in a way. And, getting to know somebody is the first step to really figuring out what's wrong with our wisp situation.
And this seems to really surprise him. And he says, I'm not so sure what to say, but really, thank you. Maybe there's somewhere I can go from here. And he reaches up kind of towards his armor, and there's this very distinct spot that's under his left arm, and he reaches into a crack in the armor, and you hear a little click, and like the breastplate actually like snaps open. And he throws it down to the side, and he's just kind of got like a leather under armor, and he throws it to the ground in disgust and kind of kicks it away.
And I also kick it a little bit.
Hugs will join him just stomping on it.
Yeah.
Just mercilessly.
Sorry, it looked like fun. Apologies.
And you guys hear kind of like a grumbling creak behind you, and Windbreaker is standing there with this glorious glittering silver plate mail, and he kind of holds it out to Hugs, and just,
Is this for me? Or for him? I'm gonna be honest, I don't quite understand the context of this. I don't know if you've noticed, but I prefer myself bare-chested. I appreciate the offer.
I'm just gonna grab it. And I'm just gonna be like, oh, no, this is, I think I get the gist.
Oh, I see, it's for Simon. Oh, okay, yes. Simon, let me help you get this on. It is quite hefty.
So awkward. Hugs, what are you doing? We were having a solid moment, you fool.
Okay. I am sorry. Yes.
And-
Yes.
Between like Pippi's just relentless chuckling and Hug's awkwardness, like you actually get a smile out of Simon, and he starts to giggle a little bit. And I guess which one of you helps him don this armor? Don, whatever.
I think he can do it himself.
Okay, you hold it out to him.
Yeah, I'll give it to him.
And unlike the serpent armor, you actually have to slide on this silver plate. And it maybe is a little too big for him, but like in almost just a moment, he's a completely different person. Before he had this dark drab bone armor on, and now he's glittering with the silver plate mail, and his eyes sparkle a little bit with happiness. And he says, if you are really looking for a way to help the elk people, then I am with you. And
well, it's good that you're on my side. I appreciate it.
Gallitrix kind of pokes his head out from below deck just to see if this dude's still crying. And he's like, how does it... that's him clearing his throat. Well, all right. Are you guys okay up here?
Yes.
I look at Simon and I'm like, I think we'll be all right.
Simon just smiles. And you guys feel like the boat slow down really suddenly and come to a halt. Not like before where it was like, but it seems purposeful. And Gallitrix says, oh, I suppose we've arrived. So Gallitrix walks past you, goes up deck, to the top deck. So
You had mentioned before that you couldn't go back to your family. From my understanding of the elk people, you're all somewhat family. So take comfort in knowing that she's here with you.
Aww.
And
Aw.
he'll go up deck.
That was
Awesome.
really profound. Hey, Simon, if I don't make it back, just go back to if you're going back to the elk grounds, just ask for the Farewell Potato Farm, and then they'll take care of you. They're pretty well off.
This takes him by surprise, and he's like, the Farewell Potato Farm?
Uh-huh.
You guys are my neighbors.
What's your last name?
There it is.
I've never heard of that.
I think it's pronounced Chate.
Are they manure farmers? Are they?
They're pretty farmers.
The farming company.
They literally just have a bunch of pigs that they feed until
My-
they
Oh my goodness.
Why in my mind are all the elk people farmers?
They're all farmers. 'Cause we are farmers.
He says, my last name is Brightwater. Simon Brightwater.
Oh my gosh.
And, I mean, I guess it's okay if you don't remember. You're pretty young still, but my father was a logger for a long time.
What?
So he helped build most of the city.
Oh, wow. I had no idea.
Yeah, if we ever make it back there, I would love to introduce you to my wife and my little girl.
Well, I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. Me too.
As they're walking upstairs, Hugs looks down at Pip. It's like, I didn't know you were a potato farmer.
Well, shut up about it. People don't need to know.
Perhaps a new nickname is in order.
Maybe not. I don't want anybody to know I'm a potato farmer.
So, Talvar, you are on the upper deck. Oh, and to kind of describe the Alabaster a little bit too, the type of ship it would be called is called a barque, Barque. And it has 4 masts, and the ship is pretty much flat, like the top of it, and they are huge trading ships. So there isn't necessarily like one's crow's nest, but you could be sitting atop one of the masts.
Cool.
And you were focused on just climbing at first, so you didn't really get a good look of your surroundings. But now you're at the top of the ship, you look around, and I'm going to narrate this all at once, so you guys come up pretty shortly after, and just so you all can be around.
Okay.
And Captain Ivory is staring out over the field, just sort of in a trance, and any of the sailors are too. So to begin, all over the water there are floating bodies and body parts, and some are just scorched skeletons and the like. It is pretty much a field of death. The water is crystal clear. You can see deep down it is littered with rubble, and like there are some Serpent Clan weapons and like the plate mail and things littering all over the ground. But really what you see most of all is it looks like the bottom of the ocean floor, because it's not super deep. You can see down to it. It's that clear. There are sections of the ocean floor that have been like blown open and revealed, and it's a bunch of tunnels. It almost kind of looks like the veins that are running through like lungs, and they all come up and they converge into one central path. The veins, kind of where your lungs would be, you can see straight down into the hallways, and there's like doors and like furniture and things in those. And it doesn't look like they're supposed to be exposed. And then they converge on one sort of central hallway that looks messed up, but it seems like it's held together. This, you can tell pretty immediately, is the location of the geyser that you saw the other day. So all this carnage is from that. And when Simon comes up and sees this, he's just dumbfounded as well. Not upset or anything, but like he's shocked, basically, in shock.
So this is the Serpent headquarters, isn't it?
Yep, this is the ruins you were supposed to go investigate that Coral sent you to.
Okay, so I turn around to Simon, I'm like, you've never been here before?
No, I lived here for an entire year.
Whoa. Things must be really rough then, huh?
I hope the living conditions were better back then.
Before the water.
You get a little bit of a grimace out of him. He says, I had no idea it was this bad. And it looks like maybe you could get him to tell you the story, but he's not openly doing it right now. So I'll kind of let you guys do your talking and stuff.
You don't see anyone you know in that water down there, do you?
He looks at the random body parts that are all over the place, and he says, most likely. I think I knew pretty much everyone. We were a pretty tight group.
Oh, man.
And yeah, finally, Captain Ivory kind of gets her wits about her, and she looks around the deck and finds, I guess, you four, or you three. Let's have you together. Oh, Zephyr's around too.
Hey, everybody.
All right.
All right.
He comes up out of the deck and he's like, oh my god, that cake down... whoa. And he looks over.
Down? No.
Don't worry,
Were you
the
just-
cake was pretty good.
What the hell happened here?
I believe that is a question for our young elk friend here.
I should say so. Yeah, what happened, Simon?
I don't even know where to start. This is one of the Serpent, I guess, safe houses? The High Pontifex here was Master Ramil. We were investigating these ruins because there was rumors that there was a god slumbering down there. And I never got to see him personally, but supposedly they found him.
Would it have been the Raven God?
No, most likely not.
Curiouser and curiouser.
Would it be the serpent that we saw through the viewing scope?
What did you see?
I kind of look at them, hoping they'll...
A battle between Raven and Serpent. And when the tide seemed to be turning against the serpents, a great winged snake in the sky.
Oh, and he starts to nod and he's like, yeah, so how this worked is there were two wings of the base, and us lower recruits, we stayed in ours, and then the high priests had theirs. And on that day, I guess it was pretty much like yesterday or whatever, before the geyser, they said we were marching, we were going to war, said we were going to start heading towards the Bear Kingdom. And so I picked up my great axe and ran out the door. As soon as we got to the surface, that's when we heard this rumbling below, and Pontifex Ramil, he pulled us into the Shadow Realm just in time to save us from the geyser, and we made our ways to the shores, and it was hell as soon as we left the Shadow Realm, and there were just the nomads, I guess, fell on us immediately, and then they summoned their god, and it killed everyone. But fortunately, Zaharin showed up and saved as many of us as he could.
Oh, wow.
I see.
Zaharin.
Yeah, that dark wizard.
Gotcha.
And he says, and then Zaharin, he wanted something from these ruins, and so that's why he came, I guess. It was fortunate timing, and so Aurelis took some of us, and we were to stand guard while Zaharin did his work, and that's where you picked me up.
Okay. Well, I think we should go explore it then. See if anybody's still alive. See if anyone's still all right, at least.
And as Simon looks over the bloody water, and says, I would be mighty surprised. And you can see that he's not too bent out of shape, that his serpent compatriots have been mashed apart. And Captain Ivory speaks up, and she says, well, we've prepared for this. You 4 are going to be going down there? Zephyr is like, yes, we are. And he tries to look all cool in front of Ivory.
Hugs is slowly beginning to smile more and more and more because he's realizing that he's about to get ready to be fighting again.
Fight the waters, my friend.
Yes, this is the path that has the most likely fighting, so
Yes.
let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah. And the captain says, oh, all right then. You should go report to the spy master. I think she has a few spells that might be useful in this situation.
The spy master?
Remind
Yes.
me who that is.
Aileen?
Aileen, yes.
Oh.
You've met.
Yes, she's my grandmother now. She's like my best friend.
I'm really confused on how your family works.
Everybody's my family.
Wait. What am I?
You're like my big brother. And
Yes!
then Talvar's like the weird uncle that doesn't talk much.
Yes, that
Got
one
that
that
right.
you...
And Zephyr's like the cool uncle.
The cool uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
It's a good family.
you, as soon as you start speaking to Aileen, or about Aileen, she actually shows up on deck.
Spy master indeed.
And she says, oh, you know. Well,
No,
maybe
actually,
you don't know. Yeah.
I know. What's up, Aileen?
Yeah. But she says, oh, I'm just reporting. I knew you, old lady voice.
That old lady sounded
Yeah.
awfully masculine.
Yeah. I've been watching you, of course, as is my job. I do indeed have enough resources to cast a few water-breathing spells. Probably 5 in total, but that's all I can do.
Hugs raises an eyebrow. He's like, what?
Let's go underwater and breathe underwater.
That is impossible.
That's so fun. Let's do it. Oh, I'm so
I
excited.
just clap him on the shoulder and shake my head.
Oh, wait. Now, with your fire powers?
No, it's more like sparks. Unless you were looking at my hands, you would never notice that
Okay.
it was dancing there.
Okay, that makes sense. All right.
Yeah.
You guys can choose to bring one person with you, in addition to Zephyr. Or you can elect not to.
I thought we were bringing the guide.
We're not going to bring Simon.
No.
Oh.
He's too screwed up in the head. I don't say that.
Okay.
We could just go, right?
You can just bring Hugs' right and left. That's the extra.
Sure. And this will be a mechanic going through the rest of the campaign, as if you're going into certain areas, or if I'm like, oh, you can bring someone with you, it's fair game. That person could pretty much always die.
We're not bringing Captain Ivory.
What's our least favorite person?
Let's
We bring Aileen.
But you don't
I
have
will
to.
vote against that.
Bring random soldier number 10.
I don't know. We could bring Sunny. She's a super good magic user.
Oh, we need a healer. That's actually a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, Sunny's a really good idea because she's expendable.
How dare you?
I definitely don't say that, but I whisper over to Hugs and Talvar, let's bring Sunny. She's super good at healing.
She seems somewhat suicidal to me. It probably wouldn't be a great idea.
It'd be a great idea if that was the case.
How do
Let's
you mean?
go. Wait.
Wait a minute.
I just shake my head as I laugh, and that's it.
All right.
Let's Bring Sunny! Yay!
Is that what everyone wants to do? I mean, it's role play, up to you guys, democracy or whatever.
I mean, technically, you can heal.
I can heal. I'm
A
super
little
good at
bit.
healing. I can heal 3 times a day if I don't use anything else.
Yeah, super good at healing.
That's so good. And I can thunderclap without any spell slots. So
Nice.
we're
Run
set.
around, clap,
I don't
clap.
think we need Sunny, all right? We're probably good. I feel like we already have an NPC coming with us.
That's
I
true.
know that sounds
No, I agree.
Yeah.
It's the fact that Zephyr is an NPC.
yeah.
Let's betray him.
Just kill
Take his
Zephyr.
shiny
I think
gems.
I don't know. In my opinion, I think we're good.
Yeah,
If that's
no,
good.
I
yeah.
agree.
Okay, because and I'll kind of design this like a Final Fantasy party, basically.
Yeah.
Like if you ever want like Zephyr to just stay behind, I'll write it in.
There you go.
So you guys are like, yeah, I think the 3 of us are just fine. And Zephyr's like, yeah, we're totally cool, the 4 of us. Yeah, we got.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, obvious.
Yeah.
Oh, this is awkward.
Let's go.
Okay.
They were talking about me when you said 3.
Oh. And Gallitrix kind of looks over in the water and sees all the serpent weapons, and he says, "We're supposed to be collecting those, aren't we?"
Yes, absolutely.
And
Maybe that's what you all can do while we do the real work.
Whoa.
They just start
Alright.
casting fishing nets.
yeah, you see Gallitrix like point his finger into the water and like start levitating like one thing out at a time. He's like, "This isn't gonna work."
Windbreaker like already has all of them on deck.
That's right. Once again, Hugs is like 1 point to Braun.
All right, so Aileen sweeps her hands out and casts water breathing on each of you, which is sort of my own variation of the water breathing spell. You guys feel like, how to describe this?
You could say that gives us gills, and we no longer feel proper on land.
That would make for
and
some
yes,
sick
there's some
fan
really
art.
loud people.
The gills?
Yes.
It's not too close to like Harry Potter.
It'd be
No,
sick.
Well, we didn't need
Well,
a
it is
boot
now
to get
that
it,
you
know-
mentioned it.
Do you know
but-
how many different fantasy novels have that exact thing in it?
Oh, I'd have to take off my scarves. For if we have gills.
It's
I'm okay without the timer on my waist.
Hugs would probably go into a panic.
If you had gills.
He's like, I can't breathe.
Yeah. So you guys feel like you have like something stuffed in your mouth, like if you were chewing like Jello or something. And it's very uncomfortable at first, but you get used to it. And there's actually like a pocket of like unlimited oxygen that you can breathe in through that.
Oh, cool.
liquid breathing.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And before you dive into this water, any equipment that you need to leave behind, you probably should.
I'll put my bow and arrows off to the side,
Yeah.
Hugs is
Oh,
good
and my
going without a
pan flute.
weapon.
Okay.
I mean, if it's
and my jacket.
leaving stuff like that behind.
It's fine.
I pretty much stripped down to underwear.
Okay.
I only have my swords and the small shorts I wear underneath my cloak thing.
Talvar just like whips his stuff off. Is he gloriously muscular or is he skinny scrawny?
He's super skinny, but it's super lean muscle.
But his
Okay.
legs are just,
Totally.
Legs
No,
down.
Like, he's incredibly fit, but because he's so malnourished, you
Uh-huh.
can still see his ribs and everything.
okay.
Okay.
So,
Like fit skinny.
yeah.
Okay. And I'm going to leave the sextant. I'm going to give it to Ivory and look her in the eyes and just close her hands around it and say, keep this safe for me.
She says, "No worries. I will completely... I'll put it down in the chest, actually, that we locked your equipment in before."
Okay.
'Kay.
Thank you.
Get
Oh.
a room.
I'm 14.
All right, so whenever you are ready, you...
As soon as we have the breathing, I'm going to dive in the water.
Okay, you dive in, and you still have to basically swim,
Mm-hmm.
but this spell also gives you the ability to kind of like upright yourself. So if you get to the bottom, you can walk on it.
Oh, okay.
So you have more mobility. It's not going to take like 5 days to swim down to the bottom.
How good are you at swimming, Jitterbug?
I'm very good at swimming, I would say.
Very well. And Hugs will dive into the water.
Okay, good shit. And it's a huge splash.
So first Talvar jumps in, there's no splash, and then suddenly it's like,
Yeah.
And I'm gonna jump in too, so.
Okay, sounds good. You guys can kind of like see sharks in the distance. This area has been brutalized by a geyser, so it's not like they're all over the place at this point.
Hugs is
Yeah.
very tempted to purposely swim over to punch a shark.
and I am swimming with my swords out.
Must
So-
punch a shark.
Must punch shark. When will I ever get this chance?
And one of the things you guys notice is this water is still like hot. It's almost like hot tub hot when you dive in.
Oh, that's
Okay,
awesome.
very comfortable.
Can we talk
Yeah.
underwater?
Yes, that's
Okay.
one thing. So you can project your voice into this air pocket, and then it vibrates out like you would
Awesome.
if you heard
Like-
sound underwater.
That's sick.
So it's
Nice.
got that weird echo to it.
Yes.
That's awesome.
What?
So-
That's so cool. We can talk underwater and breathe underwater.
Yep. And
This is so fun.
there is a chance that I'm going to be editing your voice to sound like they're underwater.
Ooh.
Have you ever talked underwater before? No, it actually sounds really cool.
Yeah.
It's
So you have various entrances you can take into this place. The total length is maybe like half a mile of tunnels, like from top to the bottom. And so you can enter, like I described it before, it's kind of like the veins of two lungs that converge into a point. So there's
I'm
right
going-
wing, left wing.
I'm going to head for the point first.
You're going to head
Like-
straight down there.
I'll follow you.
Like where it converges, and then I'm going to look around from there.
Okay. Yeah, we'll just fast forward down there. You guys touch bottom, and immediately the architecture around you is interesting. There's almost two styles. There's one that is very similar to actually the armor that these people are wearing, which is your classic serpent style. It's kind of been depicted in books and certain things. And then there's a much older style, and it looks like the serpent style is trying to mimic the other one. So and I won't make you roll on that. And the this main hallway you're looking down, that is what has the older style. And you can actually see that there are like mussels and mollusks that like super old ones that look like they maybe would have been scraped off the walls to begin with. But this geyser, actually roll perception checks now or investigation, whichever you prefer.
15.
20.
20 total.
Oh, wow. So all of you guys nailed it. Like,
Oh,
and
nice.
Maybe it's just because it's so dramatic, but you can see that this geyser originated in this hallway, and it has come out, and that's why the rest of this is like all blasted apart. The turbulence probably just destroyed the ocean floor that was above these ruins, but this hallway is completely encased in this weird dark stone that almost looks like Aurelis's armor. And this geyser, which obviously is an absolute tremendous force, did not break it, but destroyed the ocean floor itself. So what you can gather from this is it looks like this big hallway is much older, and then the Serpent Clan actually kind of dug out these other tunnels.
The other tunnels, when we look down them, does it look like it's all just living space, or?
Most of it is like, as you kind of wander just a little bit, there's living quarters. There are certain little rooms that have kind of armories that have actually, you see some steel weaponry.
So none of the bone weaponry or anything?
No, most in this area, there's not any bone weaponry. It's all silver based. Also, as you're walking around, it's pretty grotesque, but you can see there's a few spaces where like there are like skeletons sticking out of the wall. It looks like
They got blown inside it with the pressure or something?
the pressure and the heat,
Damn.
because a geyser of that proportion is pretty devastating.
I'm going to follow the old hallway then.
The weapons, you said they were like silver based. Are they like of the same quality as on the alabaster?
Oh no, the weapons down here, are steel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, these are what you would get at your mom and pop's shop, basically.
Okay.
So they're nothing special. They're not something we'd have to collect.
No, a lot of the weapons that are in these older hallways are, and there's even some armors too that you kind of recognize as like, oh, this is classic whale armor, or this is classic.
Oh, this is probably where they do the orientation then for the newcomers.
That's what it seems
Sounds
like.
about right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm already walking down the old hallway where the geyser came from.
You're
Okay.
like, I already knew. Bye.
Yeah.
Basically, as soon as I saw that it wasn't of interest to me, I just left. That's how Talvar works.
Okay.
So,
He's out.
We should rename your character Tyvar.
Tyvar.
That's how Ty
Tyvar.
works.
Tyvlar.
Yeah.
No, I
Kevlar.
would actually investigate a lot more thoroughly personally, but he
Okay.
just doesn't have interest in it.
He's like, tunnel vision, tunnel vision.
Tunnel
Yeah,
vision.
that's basically
Literally,
how he
because
is.
it's a tunnel.
Yeah.
He just looks around, goes, I don't see anything that interests me, turns around and goes where he thinks the interesting thing will be.
I have a really dumb question.
No, that's
And you can cut this out. Are we still underwater?
Yes.
Okay. I'm
This
like,
is,
did we
this
get
is
out?
where the water came from. Like,
All right.
there's no way there's not going to be water down here.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
and I mean, just in case it's not clear, this was not underwater when they were here,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
And then the ocean returned. So
Okay.
Gotcha. Cool beans.
And-
Then,
gotcha.
yeah, let's
Yep.
follow Talvar.
okay.
So it's all underwater.
Mhm.
All right.
So you are walking down this hallway, and just the size of it is pretty intense. It's probably 4 or 5 stories tall, this entrance.
Nice.
As you're walking down, you can see in the distance there's some weird glittery sparkliness, and like it looks like a dead end, but that's far in the distance. And as you are walking down this hallway, maybe about halfway between the dead end and where you came in, there's this room off to the side.
What's the sparkly stuff at the end of the hallway?
You'll have to get closer.
Yeah, that's a ways away. We're about halfway down the hallway. We just see the light sparkling way down in the distance.
I would like to go investigate that.
And I'm going to
Okay.
check the room.
Okay. And Hugs?
He'll probably glance into the room as they're going past.
Okay. And so it was night when you guys fought. The dawn came up, so the sun is shining into the water. But as you guys go deep in this hallway, it's dark because you're underwater in a narrow tunnel.
Hugs would appreciate a light spell.
I'm going to cast Thunderclap for some light.
Thunderclap for some
Just
light.
kidding.
Because lightning.
Just suddenly the water shoots apart and then collapses.
Yeah.
Like a thunder
I'm not going to do that.
Pistol shrimp, that's what they're called.
Oh, shoot. I thought I had
Yeah.
a light spell, but I guess I don't. We can see in the dark, though, can't we?
Yeah.
Hugs
Just not
cannot.
underwater, maybe?
No, dark vision would still
Yeah.
work the same.
Okay.
Yes.
I would like to go down and just maybe perceive.
So
Going on
Hugs
down,
is
go
just like,
Well, this is about as far as I can go.
You don't have any sort of light spell?
I have 0 light spell. Okay.
Dancing lights or anything like that? Is that
0
it?
of
No,
that.
what's it called?
I might be able to. Hold on. The thing is, I haven't chosen all of my spells yet.
For flavor, let's just have Pippi be able to do it for now.
Okay, I'll do
Yeah.
it for now. I'll make
that
some
works.
light.
That way I don't
Okay.
waste my one spell of the day.
Okay.
Alright.
We can even cast it on like Hugs' head.
Yeah.
So that way.
All
it's
right.
like-
I'll find a
He's the light
level 2
source.
spell and I'll get back to you guys. And I cast that.
It's a cantrip.
It's a can.
Yeah.
So you should.
Oh, it's a cantrip?
Yeah.
That's
So technically, she has her.
Yeah, I think you do. Unless if you can only choose 2 and you chose the other ones. But
What is it called?
it's called
light.
light.
Yeah.
I have light. Amazing. What? I cast light and it's a miracle.
Okay.
It's so bright and beautiful.
It's almost a D&D staple, isn't it?
Oh, yes.
Okay, so you cast light on Hugs. You're fine. You can see. Talvar can see. Zephyr is like, oh, yeah. Thank God.
I forgot he was here.
And Zephyr he's intimidated. He doesn't want to go down into this dark hallway, and he's kind of looking up at Hugs for protection or something.
Hugs will, as much as you can in water, clasp a hand on Zephyr's shoulder and just be like,
Technically, doesn't the spell basically give us full movement abilities underwater?
Essentially, once you get to the bottom, I didn't want it to be like bloop, 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 bloop all
Yeah,
the
so
time.
once we hit the bottom, we basically
You can
turn
walk.
back to normal.
Yeah.
Everything.
all right. Then he'll place a hand on Zephyr's shoulder and just be like,
Don't worry, just because we can't see in the dark doesn't mean we have to fear it.
and then the light spell comes on. He's like,
See, look at that!
My courage showed the way.
It was all your bravery.
Hugs
yeah,
is just
but-
like puffing his chest out, like,
Ah!
That's great.
All right, I'm with you, big man, but you know how to punch a shark, right?
Oh, do I?
Am I close enough to hear this?
Sure.
Aim for the gills. I was just gonna aim for the face. I would strongly recommend against that.
Just its whole face. Your head is so big,
Strongly.
you could punch a shark's whole face is the thing.
Yeah, but I would still strongly recommend against that.
it's like that. Just aim for the snout. Hit it in the snout. I don't have cable. Don't you watch Discovery?
Anyways, what do I see in the room? Because after I say that and he says
Yeah.
he's just going to hit it in the face, I just like roll my eyes and go in the room.
All right. So this is a rectangular room. It's got continuous architecture, so it looks like it was meant to be here. Right in the middle of this room, there is what looks to be a fountain, a 2-tiered fountain, and there are these wicked barbs all the way around it. Looking at it, you immediately think it's some sort of like occult ritual thing. And you can see the remnants of like crystallized blood sort of in the grooves that maybe didn't get blown out away from the geyser.
Ooh. I'm going to go and carefully look inside of it and try to avoid the spikes.
Okay. There is this small gem at the bottom, and it's glowing, and the water around it boils and froths a little bit.
I'm going to poke it with my sword.
You tap it, and it kind of falls off a little pedestal it was sitting on, and just sits there and continues to bubble.
I'm going to grab it.
As
All right.
Talvar is kind of doing this stuff, Hugs is kind of like,
Mm, Maybe best leave those kinds of things alone. Nothing ever good comes from these.
Heat's my thing, man.
And Talvar's a little bit distracted by this. You pick it up, it's hot.
Yeah.
It's really hot, but you can wrap it in a cloth or something.
Well, heat's my thing, so I figure as long as it's not like so hot it'll melt my flesh, then it shouldn't be a problem.
It's boiling water.
Okay, then I'm gonna wrap it in. Or I'm
all right, then I'm gonna go.
I'm gonna wrap it in a little
cool.
bit of cloth. Then not like I have much, but
Okay. Yeah. And like the cloth gets pretty hot too, so you have to like dangle it a little bit.
that's fine.
But all around this room, and they're kind of knocked off the walls now, but this is an armory, and all around you see the bone weapons and the armor, and there are both the kind of the brown versions as well as the dark black versions that Aurelis used.
I'm gonna try and grab a couple quivers of. Are there the dark black arrows too?
Yeah, they're around. They're
I'm gonna
scattered
try and
all
grab
over.
a couple of or a few of those.
You find an additional 20.
Awesome.
How many weapons are still in condition, like to bring back?
There's probably about 20.
20. All right. Because it's underwater, I imagine their buoyancy is like pretty low.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
All right, then yeah, Hugs will gather them up and probably like. Is there any like a black spear or something like that?
Like a lance?
Yeah, or like just like a long spear or something.
Yeah. Most of the weapons are all of the brown variety, we'll say. Yeah, you get a spear or a lance, whichever you want.
Probably use that while being underwater for right now.
Okay, so you pick that up, and I guess there's some tarps that have been knocked off. Maybe you roll some weapons up in those so you can take them all at
There you
once.
go.
Oh, nice.
Pippi.
I think I'm still going down that hallway to see what that shiny stuff is.
Don't wander off too far. We're checking some stuff in here.
I will.
Okay.
After I get the arrows and the stone, though, I basically ignore everything else in the room and I go out to see what the sparkling at the end of the hallway was.
Okay.
Sorry, I forgot to mention something.
Yeah.
It's another one of those things I thought but didn't say. Talvar ties the stone to the base of his sword hilt.
Okay.
Because he doesn't want to tie it to himself. And
Yeah.
he like carefully ties it to his sword and then
Okay. Pippi gets there first and gets to make initial rolls, but then you guys show up shortly thereafter. So as you're walking down this hallway, you notice that, the floor gets a little bit more rugged. There's some kind of spikes on the wall. This architecture is very uber gothic, I guess I would say.
Oh, excellent.
You can see like certain spikes on the wall have these white feathers, like tufts of feathers that have been kind of ripped and torn off, and they're kind of like hanging there and they're all over the ground.
Whoa.
The geyser would have definitely blown away feathers. So this is post geyser.
Shoot, and this is underwater, so we got a bird. We got an underwater bird on our hands. That's exciting. Is that what's sparkling then? It's all the feathers or what's...
No, that's just a detail.
Oh, okay.
As you go further down, there are jutting all over the place, and this is definitely odd. It seems like there are crystals just growing off the walls.
Whoa.
And now these crystals you can't actually see through them. They kind of look like opal, I guess, but in the shape of like quartz.
I love that, yeah.
They've got these fractalized designs inside of them, and if you can roll maybe like an arcana to try to know what these are.
Yeah, because I'm not going to touch them because what if it's some kind of crystal disease and then I lose my hand? There it goes.
Reference.
16.
With that roll, you know what these are based on like rumors and texts you've read.
Uh-huh.
You're not exactly sure the full detail, but you know for sure what these are, and they're called Deusite.
Deusite?
Yep, Deusite.
Cool.
And these are probably the most valuable mineral on Earth.
I'm gonna take a bunch. I'm like...
Something that would fit in a thimble is worth thousands of gold.
Can I just take a bunch of it?
These crystals are large enough that they're bigger than you are.
Oh,
you
shoot.
wouldn't be able to carry them.
do I see her like desperately trying to get the crystals?
Yeah, you're just like scrambling against them.
I'm picking at it with my
What are they?
with my rapier.
What?
What are they?
Don't worry about it. They're very invaluable.
And I'm still picking away.
Says that. I glare at her for a second and I try and figure out what it is myself.
All right, roll an arcana.
That's hilarious.
It's funny because invaluable means super valuable.
Yeah. 14
Total?
Yeah.
So you don't really know, but between Hugs doesn't know. He can't roll. Oh,
I'm totally gonna
They're
roll.
very poisonous to everybody except for me.
Seeing how she's picking at them, even though I don't know what they are, I'm going to go into the back and grab a hammer and a tarp.
Hugs has like all the weapon stuff out of that.
Oh,
room.
okay. Then
Yeah.
I just grab a tarp.
let's continue on with the Deusite real quick. It's nicknamed like the Stone of the Gods.
That's so cool.
And the reason it's so valuable is because it's the highest form of alchemy, basically. This stone can be used to make anything in the universe. It is like the primal matter of all creation.
Hugs knows what it is.
Did he get a nat 20?
He rolled an 18, but he's...
Well, Hugs has a -1. No, is it 1? I think it was 1.
Was it -1 or -2?
It might be -2 intelligence.
Either way, he still got higher than Pippi.
This is important then.
Or he got the exact same
Oh,
amount.
that's true.
Hugs roll just changed the fate of the universe. So the reason Hugs knows about this stone is because your village has one.
Whoa.
Heck yeah.
Hell yeah.
I like it.
And so you guys are in the Bear Kingdom, and maybe one of your warriors at some point went deeper in the ground than anyone has ever gone
Yeah.
before and came back out with one.
Yeah.
So that will be important. Write it down or whatever.
Yeah,
But you have
I'll
one.
make a
And
note.
you're
I can make a note of it if you want.
Sure.
Yeah, please do.
When I get back with the tarp, I'm going to
Yeah.
try and break the stone.
It is Deusite cannot
can't-
be broken.
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is there any... Like, I can like dislodge and shove on the
It's
tarp?
attached to wood, isn't it?
Well, it's like kind of built into the stone, pretty much.
Oh.
It
So we
comes-
can't break the stone around it or anything?
Probably not.
I want
So,
this.
I imagine what happens is Pip's lying to Talvar being like, "Oh, it's nothing. Don't touch it. It's bad."
It's so poisonous.
yeah. And Hugs will just walk in and be like,
Why is there so much Deusite in this room?
How do you know this?
And Zephyr's eyes are as big as dinner plates right now.
"I was gonna say."
Yeah. And he's looking desperately for a piece, and he's like wanting to. He holds up his cape as if he could sew a piece on, and all of them are too big.
So there's none of them we can even dislodge or anything.
Not currently.
I want them so bad. So
This is
bad.
notable. The ones that you guys come across first are the smallest. They get bigger as you get towards this door in the back.
Oh, damn. Oh, side note, I would grab 2 feathers and stick them in the quiver when I saw them on the ground.
Okay.
Ooh,
Yeah.
smart.
Oh yeah, there's an underwater bird.
I just had to throw that in there.
Hey, yeah, hey, also.
I've heard of flying fish, but not swimming birds. That is a joke.
I'm laughing very hard.
Yeah, and so the crystals grow larger and more concentrated as you get towards the back of this hallway. And there are like feathers and like bloody chunks of meat that are kind of stuck on them. It looks like whatever was dragged through here was like forcibly just dragged through.
And it was big, too.
That's rough. And it had feathers.
Big old swimming bird cut up on all this Deusite.
He keeps saying Deusite, and I'm so impressed. It's like
You
the
see,
first.
like Hugs is like almost intentionally using the word Deusite just to like
Show that he
pretend
knows
like
something.
he's real smart. Honestly, he has no idea what it is. He just knows what it's called.
Yeah. So yeah, basically like the most powerful alchemists in the world will need like kilotons of gold and silver to make just like a tiny ounce of this stuff. And so basically, yeah, if it's the purest form of alchemy, it's what the alchemist stone would be made out of, stuff like that.
I'm visibly upset that we can't get any of this.
Yet.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a shame I can't bring any of this Deusite back to my village.
I'm going to actually start walking really cautiously as I follow the blood trail.
Okay.
Tune them out completely while they marvel at all the stuff we can't get yet.
All right. Even the ground itself is kind of like a puddle almost, and it seems like the crystals are growing out of it. So like there's a sheet of Deusite on the ground, and then crystals are coming out. As you get towards what is a 5-story tall double set of doors. And they are made of some kind of bronze-looking metal, and it is completely like welded shut with heat. But there is a significant portion that's been cut out, and it's laying on the floor.
Oh, that's convenient.
And there are feathers kind of around it too.
Is there anything I can see through the opening?
Some kind of antechamber. That's what you can tell. A large, big open room, but you can't see anything immediately. Not until you guys go in there.
And there's just a ton of Deusite everywhere.
The floor is Deusite at this point. Literally everything.
And it continues in.
Yeah, I'm going to just kind of peek my head in, not like fully go in, just like look through the door and
it hurts
try
so
and
bad.
see what I can find.
Inside, the Deusite, it's like all over the walls and kind of dripping down from the ceiling, and it kind of leads up to almost what would be a throne, and inside that there is a creature sitting there in this throne, almost godlike in proportions, probably 4 or 5 stories tall.
A creature that's 5 stories tall?
It's big enough to use these doors as if we use a normal door.
Yeah, that's rough. Well,
and we're underwater, which makes me near useless.
No.
Besides my normal attacks.
This creature has this thin, kind of rubbery skin that shimmers red and silver, almost in the way of like a dragonfly would. And when it like breathes, you can see it breathing, and the skin stretches over actual, like you can see it looks like he's created of Deusite. Like,
oh, that's terrifying.
His muscles are. And he's got these 2 long horns that kind of extend back and wrap around.
Is there any sign of the dead bird thing?
There are feathers all over in this room, and grasped in this thing's hand is a heart.
I'm going to cast invisibility on myself.
Okay.
Hugs is like whispering.
Look, a creature of Deusite sitting on a Deusite throne in a Deusite room.
What was that called again,
Deusite.
I actually start laughing in the doorway when he says that.
I imagine he's looking through all sneaky like,
I'm all
and
like,
then Hugs peeks his head in.
Look!
And this thing's eyes crack open, and you hear Zephyr like,
I ignore him and keep focused on the creature's eyes.
and you can see that kind of behind this, there's a sort of a sheet of Deusite that's kind of covering it, but the back wall is just completely obliterated, and it was that black stone. This is the origin of the geyser, it seems like.
Also, his head's still shining, which means there is a bright light shining through that door.
Yeah, Hugs has probably walked into the room slightly by now.
He's like, I must see this Deusite
Yes,
creature.
like, look at all this Deusite.
And this thing, it looks wounded. Like,
shoot.
The muscle underneath, which would probably be Deusite, is all cracked. And you can see, like, the cracks start to kind of form a little bit, like hair fractures start to stitch back together.
I want to go up to it because I'm invisible now. Can
Okay.
I be invisible now?
Sure.
Okay, I'm invisible, and
Hugs was like looking around for Pip, like when he was saying the word Deusite so much, like because he noticed how impressed she was when he was like, "It's Deusite." She's like, "What the?" And he's just like looking around like for confirmation that he's a smart person.
no, I'm definitely not visible anymore, and
Okay.
I'm climbing up maybe the side of the chair. Can I do that? Is it not? Is it climbable? I mean, I guess I can swim. Up.
Yeah.
It's true, we're underwater.
Yeah.
I would like to swim up to maybe the heart in his hand,
Okay.
and then see what's going on there. Do I have to roll for perception
Sure.
Okay.
And stealth,
and stealth?
because you are in water.
I am in water.
There's
and
bubbles following. Yeah.
That's true. Do we make bubbles?
You don't make bubbles, but you can hear yourselves breathing.
Okay,
And there would be the swishing of your arms as you swim.
Yeah, that might be.
And the displacement of the water.
that's
Yeah.
true. And all my scarves everywhere. So it's going to be stealth +4 then.
Here's why.
9.
Here's why your stealth roll was so bad. As soon as you start to swim forward, Hugs is looking around for you, and it's just like,
Wait, where's Jitterbug? He was just here a moment ago. There were 4 of us, and now there are 3. Where's that voice coming from?
Oh my god!
it's almost like an invisible creature. Is it
I bet it's Deusite.
I bet it's Deusite.
So do I get any kind of do I get any kind of
Sure, you can have advantage because you're
advantage
invisible.
because I'm invisible?
Oh,
Yes,
there you go.
that's
Yeah,
what I was trying to say.
Sure. You can have advantage.
Okay, because
Roll again.
16 +4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Hugs doesn't do any of that.
I am. If he is, then I'm like.
Well, we could say that he did, and the guy almost noticed him
There
or
you go.
noticed her,
Yeah.
and then like she stopped moving and he lost all track of her.
And just started focusing on the boisterous, loud voice.
Yeah.
So it was almost a fuck up.
I mean, yeah, we're good though,
Yeah.
right? Is that okay? Sorry.
So this thing, it's kind of stirring back to consciousness. That's what I'll say. And so as you guys are starting to make a loud noise, it seems to be progressing that fairly quickly. You swim up to this heart, and it's fairly large. This thing's fist is probably capable of holding...
All of us?
I mean, yeah. Like several people, and the heart is just about that big. And I guess the anatomy of it is very odd. Like it's not like a human heart.
Oh, man.
And this is your guys' moment to do something or whatever. I'm going to open it up to you.
Is it scales all over him of Deusite, or is it just solid Deusite?
You mean on him personally?
Yes, because I am wondering if I could just rip one off of him.
He looks like he has a rubbery exterior, and the muscles under the skin is probably what's made of this Deusite-looking material.
There was that exploded wall behind him. There's probably some smaller fractions
I
of
was
Deusite
actually
around
going
there.
to say I was walking around to the room the long way to get
Hugs
he's
will
going.
probably stand directly in front of the creature and just be like,
Just staring at it.
yeah, like trying to figure out.
I've never heard any tales of a creature like this.
And made of
And
Deusite.
made of Deusite, no less.
Glance.
Are any of you sensitive at all to, like, detect good and evil, celestial, fae, fiend, anything like that? I don't
Only
think
in
any of
the
you...
Do not
Foxland.
believe so.
No.
All right. So investigating this back wall, I guess, Talvar,
Yeah.
the Deusite is post-geyser.
Okay. So the Deusite's all like in perfect order.
Mm-hmm.
Do I see any way to like get to the geyser or to the hole in the back or anything like that? Or is the
Sure,
Deusite, like,
you could wriggle
perfectly
your way
smooth?
down, I guess. How about that?
I'm going to take note of it and then turn and watch what's happening at the rest of the room.
Okay. I mean, from this perspective, it looks like almost as if the forensic spray of blood or something is the pattern of the Deusite all over this room.
Oh, the Deusite's his blood.
Whoa.
Oh, that's crazy.
Are there feathers around?
All
Yes.
around the front of the
Just
room.
all around?
And there's even some that look like they're trapped underneath the Deusite.
Whoa, so maybe the... What? This is a whole crazy
Hugs
situation.
is just continuing to stare and just be like,
Do you have a name, creature?
And it stirs and looks down towards you, and it says,
My name is Daedalus.
I didn't catch that.
Daedalus.
Oh,
Did you catch it, or is it too quiet
I
and weird?
actually heard it, but the very first part kind of sounded like it was cutting out.
I kind
Okay.
of love the fact that you're like,
Yeah.
it's Daedalus. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
He just suddenly
I'm trying out a
switches
new
to
voice,
normal
but
every day.
I might re-record it later.
no.
I like it.
But let's see. So
Yeah. That was good. That was good.
Hugs, in his brain, Daedalus sounds a lot like Deusite, so it's like Hugs is kind of looking around like,
I look at you like,
It's like,
So your name is Deusite. And you're made of Deusite. In a Deusite throne. In a Deusite room. You're like Deception.
I'm like cracking up a little bit. My hand is on my mouth. Like,
you're right next to him, too.
yeah,
Oh,
I'm like
God.
in his hand.
Yeah.
It's very funny.
Hugs ain't too bright.
Okay.
Oh my
I'm
god.
just in the back shaking my head.
This god character. He's like,
What?
just pretend that you're Batman.
Batman, what are you talking about?
The 1,001 different ways I pictured this scene happening.
This is not one of them.
It's a good one though. It's a good one.
Okay. Perhaps we can redo it.
No, it's perfect.
No, it's fine.
Are you
Whatever.
kidding?
It's your character to the T, so it's...
You're just standing there in marble saying, "This dude's name is Dan. I know that word."
Yeah.
I understand it now.
I'm just gonna have him ignore you and just continue his monologue.
It's too big for that.
I guess all of you can roll a history check, and it has to be pretty bomb.
5.
No.
Natural 1.
Deusite.
I Natural 2.
Yes.
12,
No.
which is better,
Zephyr?
though.
You at least know that his name is not
I
Deusite.
know that it's not. Wait, remind me his name really quick.
Daedalus.
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 Anyway, this god character.
All right, so you guys are just giggling the shit out of this. But, like, as soon as Zephyr hears the name, he falls down in placation and, like, bows to this thing.
Hugs will kind of glance down and is like,
Did you trip?
I actually wouldn't see any of this because I'm like directly behind his throne.
Okay.
So all I see is a giant.
What are you doing, Sparkles?
And Zephyr doesn't say anything, and Daedalus just continues, I guess.
I am the crafter of the mortal coil.
Shoot, son.
Does that mean he made life?
gonna be honest, most of these words are going right over Hugs' head, so he's probably
Yeah.
just kind of.
You're losing him. Throw in a few Deusite.
If you actually said that, oh my
so
lord.
Yeah.
No, I'm looking for, at this point, I'm just looking for loose Deusite around his body. Because, come on. Come on.
Probably has an eyebrow raised, so like pretending to like understand exactly what he's
He's just
doing.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a sick monologue, though.
Mhm.
Okay.
It's a
Thank
very
you.
good
Keep it up, keep it
monologue.
up.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
Hugs is just ruining everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we're just being us, but keep on going because it's really cool.
Yeah. And he just says,
What is your intent?
Hugs kind of furrows his brow and he's like,
Sparkles. What are we doing here again?
I've actually been wondering the same thing.
We're investigating the geyser.
you guys were sent here to get those serpent weapons.
Oh, yeah.
No, I'm audibly just facepalm.
Oh yeah, we are here to gather the weapons of the previous people here.
Oh my god. I pipe up.
Okay, we're here to investigate the serpent people and
what
get.
is that? Jitterbug?
At this point, I'm right up against his ear.
Okay.
We're here to investigate the serpent people and figure out what they're all about, and gather their weapons as well. Also, what's up with this whole situation with the geyser and the feathers? Explain yourself.
And then I swim
Okay.
as fast as I can.
She yells all that in his ear and then just
Yeah.
she's just saying that as she's swimming away, like off of Stranger Things. Just shit.
Exactly. And then I'm out. Oh my gosh. This has been a really funny
Oh my gosh.
episode. I
I'm-
like have
I'm
a
so-
headache. I've been
I
laughing so
know.
much.
I apologize if I ruined your god intro.
Let me look up a word, a synonym for idiots.
Austin's just like, I'm gonna cut all this and re-record it.
he just re-records in all of our voices.
All of our voices.
I can imagine him doing all of our voices.
Well, that's the thing about D&D. The DM makes a world and the players ruin it.
It's true.
That's how it works, Austin. That's how podcasts go.
Yeah.
Just
How
everything's ruined and hilarious.
That's right.
I'm just trying to think.
You haven't been to many of our D&D sessions.
Yeah. I think this god necessarily isn't going to be like just kind of replying to like this chittering speech of
He's
mortals.
so big, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I imagine
So-
he's probably just like not like even registering half of what we're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah. And also, even though he is speaking to you, it's almost kind of in a fugue. He's still kind of dizzy, sort of beat up, probably near death, it seems like.
He's like casting out his last words at this moment. He's making it count.
No, he's probably not dying.
Okay, well,
He
okay.
seems like he's the opposite. He's getting better.
Yeah, he's getting better.
What was
Yeah.
that?
He was healing when we walked in.
Oh, that's
he
right.
said that
Yeah.
the cracks were refusing and
Oh,
Yeah.
that's right.
Hugs kind of is like looking around. It's like, maybe we should just take this opportunity to kill a god.
Let's
Yeah.
just maybe kill him.
So the last thing that was said was Pippi being like, "So what is all of
Yeah,
this
right
about?"
next
You know?
to his head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're finding out the snakes people, and we're trying to figure out where this geyser came from and collecting weapons along the way.
Yeah. He holds out this heart that he was holding, and he says,
The god of axioms and order is dead.
and he takes the heart and he throws it on the ground, and he says,
Your will is the law now.
Yours in the informal your, or like humanity, or what's going on?
"That's not going to get a reaction from him."
Maybe I'm just talking out loud to myself, like, wait a minute, us four.
Wait, what?
I also know this is a really bad idea, but when he throws the heart down, I'm going to try and go back to where the geyser came from.
Okay.
So I'm going to sneak out of that little crack and start leaving backwards further into the cave.
Does anything break off of the heart when he throws it on the ground?
Particularly some Deusite shards.
Some Deusite
Like,
shards.
he throws it with a surprising
Like,
amount of force, but...
This entire scene, Pip's eyes are just money bags.
Yeah.
I mean, with my
Just dollar
newfound
signs.
horrible side.
That's right.
Okay.
What a great time to become a rogue.
Yeah, I got some priorities, yo.
So, before he continues, I guess, Talvar, you kind of look back, like, down into what is down here. And, I mean, gargantuan isn't enough to say the pulverized tunnel that is beyond this point. Like, if it looks, there is no light that goes deep enough even for your dark vision. Whatever down here is infinitely deep, it seems. Enough to hold an ocean, probably.
Okay, I'm going back into where
Okay.
the room then.
Put that thing back
Yeah.
where it came from. Also help me.
Actually, from the outside, do I see anything different on the Deusite looking in? Or anything, like, out of ordinary from the outside?
Like a shard he can take.
That's actually part of what I was thinking.
No, there's
Yes.
there's just currently no shards.
Austin's like, there are no shards, guys.
Will you
I'm
tell
not
us-
going to give you the infinite resources of this game.
Can we just have one? Just enough for my poor potato farming family.
All right, then I'll sneak back in and start heading towards the heart, but I'm gonna like hug the wall until I get around to the front, out of fear.
Hugs will just look over. It's like,
Where did you go?
I just shake my head and keep moving.
All of this has happened like after he delivered that last line. Talvar's looking around, and you guys, I guess, have a volley of comments.
just like dipping around in front of this god, and we're just like, yeah, we're player characters.
Yeah.
About a metaphorical dead horse.
Yeah. So,
man.
but
Good times.
so he has just said, but like your will is the law. And he continues on, and he says,
But I would have a favor to ask of you.
Anything.
What?
For a cost.
okay, sure. He looks down at you.
Oh shoot. Well, has it been an hour yet?
No.
Since the beginning. Okay, I'm still invisible. Is the thing.
So he's looking
can-
where the sound came from.
He knows you're there.
Okay. Well.
This is probably one of the highest gods
Oh
at
shoot.
this point.
So
you
it
know.
probably has sea invisibility.
I take off. Well, I look at him directly in the one of his eyes because I doubt I can look at both of his eyes at once.
Okay.
And I say,
Sir, my family are humble potato farmers back in the elf lands. If I could just maybe have one little bit, maybe more than a little bit of Deusite, that delicious mineral that you have all over your body. It's so good for what I want, and I need it. Can I have it if we do this for you?
He reaches out and puts his hand on top of a huge obelisk of this Deusite that's part of his throne.
Give me your word.
You can have every word that I have.
Maybe don't be so quick to swear your soul to this thing.
I am so excited to give you my whole heart and soul right now without any
jitterbug.
retribution whatsoever. Give me my money, thank you.
This command question seems to kind of be directed at most of you.
yeah, this is an all of us situation. You got one down, 3 to go.
I kind of look around in fear and then finally nod my head and hope that's enough.
Okay. Zephyr's implication, he's obviously...
He's on board.
He's just like, yes, of course.
yes, yes.
Anything you say, Lord.
I mean, my will is my own. Sorry.
3 to 1. I mean,
What are you asking? I'm not sure I understand.
Seek the witch of divestiture, the woman who defies my authority.
the witch of the vestiture?
Divestiture.
Divestiture?
I'm not even sure I know what the word vestiture means.
It's like to be rid of something, to free yourself from something, to like take away or to banish.
Oh, cool.
Yes, but Hugs probably doesn't know that word.
He says,
The witch hides under the mountain of the bear. Slayer. There's no witches beneath the bear mountain.
I don't think you understand the word hide.
it seems like he starts to snap to awareness at this point.
I am done with you.
And he crushes the Deusite in his hand, and glittery, powdery goes all over the place.
Is it too glittery and powdery?
There are chunks.
Okay.
And they are kind of floating all over the place, and he starts to stand up from his throne and seems not so happy with Hugs. So...
Wait, I'm not part of your allegiance thing, right?
Oh, God.
You get to kill something,
Oh.
and it's a bad thing.
Oh. Okay. That sounds great.
Everyone go ahead and make a dexterity roll. No, make a acrobatics maybe. You guys, this is like, maybe you can snatch up some Deusite.
I got a 20.
Okay, but it seems like Daedalus is like ready to be done with you in all seriousness.
19 plus 1, total of 20.
Okay.
I got a 14, which is ironic because I need this so bad.
She's just so distracted by it all. She's just like...
Like in one of those money pits where they just reach
can't
everywhere.
grab a single dollar.
My hands are so small, you guys.
So Zephyr and Hugs are kind of next to this like oversized heart, and there might be some Deusite that like flies towards you in shards. So you could probably catch one. Like Zephyr has still got his head to the ground, and so he's not going to catch anything. Talvar, you can grab like a sizable chunk, maybe like the size of what you would see, like kind of like an ingot or whatever.
Oh, nice.
And Pippi, you can probably grab some smaller ones. But so what would Hugs do, I guess, in this moment?
It's a good question. I'm not sure if Hugs is entirely sure what exactly is happening because Ian doesn't quite exactly understand what the god is asking. But
the god is pissed off.
So the god is mad.
Well, he wants us to go kill someone that turned him down, and then you turned him down.
Right. But Hugs doesn't quite
And
realize...
also kill this guy.
Yeah, Hugs doesn't quite realize that the witch is somebody who like turned him down because the god was using a bunch of fancy words. And so
He did say, "Who defied my authority?" I don't know if
is
that's...
he asking Hugs to submit to him? Because if that's the case, yeah, Hugs is like, because Hugs doesn't submit to people.
He said, your will is the law, but I ask a favor. I'll let you gather that, like, this thing isn't trying to command your soul, but you are making a promise to him,
And
sort
he
of.
is an ancient god, so I'm guessing it's intentionally vague as all high hell.
Hugs' will is law, and he's asking a favor, and it's to kill something that is apparently somewhat bad.
I guess we'll go kill a witch.
And grabs a thing of Deusite from the explosion stuff and kind of starts to walk out.
So Daedalus is about half standing up, and he reaches his hand kind of forward towards, like, this heart, and, like, everything in that circular area is just pulverized to a fine mist, pretty much at this point. So you guys are, like, breathing in little, like, shards of Deusite, and this heart leaves, like, a bloody
We're worth more
puddle.
than anyone in the whole world right
Yeah.
now. This is sick. Yeah.
But
It
he...
was truly a Deusite to behold.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Continue.
Yeah. So, but he, like, the effort of that, he kind of crumples back into his seat. And who's the closest to him?
Me.
Yeah, it would
All right.
definitely be Pippi.
Yeah.
You guys start to see the water shimmer in sort of like Talvar, you know it very well, looking over the desert. It's like a wave of heat. And yeah, Pippi, you take
Oh, shoot. How much did Deusite?
about
Away from this.
11 points of heat damage.
I don't want that.
And you didn't get very much Deusite.
I didn't because I was right up next to him and not where he threw it.
So
okay. I take 11 points of heat damage. Oh.
and the water is starting to boil.
Okay, I have 5. Okay, I'm gone.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm actually going to just sprint for the doorway. So Pippi's still swimming.
I have my freaking
Zephyr is still
pebbles.
bowing. And I'm booking it out the door. Not saying anything
If
to
Zephyr
anyone.
is still like kneeled on the ground, Hugs is probably gonna like kick him slightly and be like, "Hey, I think it's time to go, Sparkles. He seems kind of upset with us. I can't imagine why."
He's really heating up. I'm dying.
Things are getting hot. All right, so yeah, Zephyr takes off with you.
All right.
Pippi, athletics checks or anything or spells?
Pippi, I'd probably leave there in a quick
First
hot
of all,
second.
I'm burnt. Is that something that's gonna like poisoning that it's gonna consistently be paining me?
If you stay in this area.
I'm moving.
Okay.
I'm gonna move towards that opening
Okay.
and be gone.
Towards the doorway, right?
Yes. 4.
Oh. I think we lost Pippi, you guys.
Woof, you guys.
Anyone
Save me
else?
if only for the Deusite I'm
It's
holding.
totally out of my character to do anything for her.
Hugs would probably notice her struggling, unless she's still invisible.
No, I'm not. After I saw that Deusite, I'm like, no, I
She
stopped
lost all
focusing.
focus,
Yeah.
right.
yeah.
All right,
All right.
Hugs, your friend is floundering in this like heat wave.
You told me you could swim very well.
I can't. I'm not heat resistant.
Hugs will probably swim over to pull her out of the area.
Thank you.
Okay. You'll take some heat damage and make an athletics or an acrobatics.
Yeah. So Hugs gets a 19 total on an athletics check.
Was
Okay.
this an athletics check?
Yes.
That's 2 then.
Okay. And yeah, so you go over and snatch her out of the air, and just like one single stroke of your arm is just like whoosh through this water. You take 7 points of heat.
It's warmer than I thought it would be.
And I'm
Yeah.
dying a little bit, but that's fine.
All right. So, and you guys frantically make your way down this like ancient hallway and kind of get back into the spidering sort of tunnels. And the heat seems to disperse fairly well out from this hallway back into the ocean.
Oh my goodness.
So it seems like it is safe, but the water is gradually getting hotter around you.
Yeah,
But-
I actually wouldn't stop moving until I got back to the boat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Talbot's
Thomas
just
is
like,
I'm going.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nope, nope,
Once he got, because we got what little information there was that I could see.
uh-huh.
I got a reward from it. And we found a god who wants to kill us. So in my brain,
Yeah.
there is absolutely no reason to stop whatsoever. Safety first. And so Talvar would just be gone. And since I move faster than average people,
And to be fair, this god doesn't seem like he's like, you must die, I'm trying to kill you. It's
Yeah.
more like irritation, like be gone sort of thing.
I can't imagine why he's irritated.
Yeah.
His freaking hand wave almost killed me. Like, what a cool god.
yeah, just by
No,
moving
What a hot god.
just moving his hand was enough force to obliterate something we can't even scratch. So
That's true.
I would be scared out of my mind.
Yeah, it's
Just-
rough.
Just saying.
It's real rough right
It's
there.
real rough. No, we're all, yeah, let's go.
So yeah, you guys get up and dive out onto the alabaster, and like Pippi is in a semi pretty good agony. And
Do I have burn marks?
no,
Okay.
it's not that
My
bad.
face is all I have.
Yeah. But like you're probably like second degree almost everywhere.
Shoot.
Just
And-
bright red like a lobster.
Yeah.
Well,
And-
if that, then I could cast lesser rest. I wrote lesser restoration on myself so that I don't feel the horrible burn marks all over my body.
yeah, so it's all right because Sunny does run up and she
okay.
says,
All right. Never mind. Yeah.
no, there. It's okay. And touches you and well, your
I
shoulders.
need an adult.
Yeah.
I
She
am
grabs
an
your shoulders
adult.
and a wave of coolness like passes over you, and there's like a tingling sensation and then another wave, and you seem to be okay.
Oh my gosh.
Restoring you to full hit points.
Sonny, I am so glad we didn't bring you.
What's that supposed to
Don't
mean?
even worry about
Yeah.
it. Thank you for healing
Yeah.
me so much.
Okay.
Oh, God.
And is there anything you guys need to say to like Ivory or anybody as soon as you get out of the water?
I would actually go to Galatrix and hand him the little cloth.
While saying, be careful,
Like
it's
because
hot.
it's hot?
I like still dangling in the cloth. I would carefully.
Okay, the wet cloth is like sizzling.
Yeah.
All right, Galatrix takes it from you, and he says, what's this?
I just shrugged.
All right, well, I'll look into it.
Cool,
Yeah.
bud.
That's why I gave it to him. I knew he would be the most likely to figure out what it was. So.
True.
Yeah, he takes that. Hugs? Is there anything you need to...
So we might want to leave, as the sea will probably be boiling soon.
Wasn't it dispersing though?
It was gradually heating up.
Oh shoot, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Galatrix is actually like, you guys were down there for probably, I would say maybe an hour or so. Let's say he's gathered up pretty much all the
Oh.
weapons.
After I give him the stone, I turn to leave, and then I look back and go, oh yeah, there was a god down there. And then I go and get my stuff.
And yes, Simon is there too, and he's like, tell me exactly what you've seen. Hey everyone, thanks for listening to Reforged Podcast. If this was your first time, well, welcome. And if not, you guys have been with us for 6 whole episodes, so that's fantastic. Thank you so much. If you've really, really enjoyed us, please let your friends know. Spread the word. It means so much to a young podcast like us. And if you would rather, rate, subscribe on iTunes, on Stitcher, listen to us on Spotify. All of that helps so much. So thank you again very, very much. I also wanted to announce that Reforged will be participating in Women in Tabletop Gaming Month. And so we will be releasing a entirely new 4-episode campaign in the month of June. So stay tuned for that. If you can, hop on over to Twitter, follow us at Reforged Staff, and I will have additional information there. If you want to follow me on Twitter, my name is Austin Rasmussen, and my handle is @Trenchmaker.
If you want to find me, Zoe Shane, you can find me on Twitter at Zoe with umlaut.
And if you want to find me, Ian Early, I'm on Twitter at Brother Tortoise.
We'll see you next Friday. Have a good weekend.